Gompa Jumdindi Geshe Ngawang Thekchok Sobe Sanjere Bala Shase Tenpa Dewa Shepa Chiden Chiven Deve Kalo Jowa Lana Me Bala Namena Tenpa Sanje Jumdin Debe Jawa Shaja Tobala Choda Jasanje Woe Tenpa Jumdindi Geshe Ngawang Thekchok Sobe Sanjere Bala Shase Tenpa Dewa Shepa Chiden Chiven Deve Kalo Jowa Lana Me Bala Namena Tenpa Sanje Jumdin Debe Jawa Shaja Tobala Jasanje Woe Tenpa Jumdindi Geshe Ngawang Thekchok Sobe Sanjere Bala Shase Dewa Shepa Chiden Chiven Deve Kalo Jowa Lana Me Bala Namena Tenpa Sanje Jumdin Debe Jawa Shaja Tobala Chodo Jasanje Woe Gongde Konye Zowo Chedanse Sache Dea Gompa Debone Ane Jiden Denan Choche Son Deze Jeba Chela Chan Zelo Nandara Kungan Chodo Sosan Ishe Chanso Seche Lombon Cha Chaba Jiden Sana Lame Wang Gompo Chungye Chela Cha Sinjo Tenpa Chime Dawe She Sindon Jawa Chela Cha Zelo Dede Cheda Siva Sama Chi Nyame Chechen Chela Cha Zelo Gompo Toche Chedeba Tanje Chimbe Tenpa Bu Sana Yende Chanso She Deche Shela Cha Zelo Tabin Deja Jawa Je Nye Zon Le Zho Xin Chi Do Tende Chunche Wa Shi Je Chela Cha Zelo Chone Chowe Layang De Laba Dala Ratene Shinge Damba Yende Ling Gende Layang Cha Zelo Sangye Zola Cha Zelo Choba Chela Cha Gende Chela Cha Zelo Sane Dade Kusha Cha 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 Yuba Tangche La Shinda Kunje Chanye Je Luta Paye Nan Kunje Choda Debe Cha Zelo Kamara Rama Medan Chuma Siwa Chua Dam Mulan Loba Chenda Dede Chana De Dada Sonan Deye Tanje Sebaye Gompa Tane Chinja Jada De Gada Nada Chive La Chube Sebe Tsode Chua Chua Shoe Baba Kunjo Sana Cha Zelo Dege Dage Teba Dijena Chudende Jabuka Jago Pombera La Kenon Gende Chimbodan Shanjo Sembe Gende Chimbodan Taje De Jodo De Se Chumdende Samona She Chawe Shije Nandan Chitine Nyamba Shosa Yande Yese Chanjo Samba Samba Chimbo Baba Che Zawanjo Shera Jabara Do Chimba Sabyu Choba Nila Namba Tashi Pombo Ngabo Dedara Yara Shinji Tomba Namba Tao Tene Sanje Jete Teda Nyamba Sharip Chanjo Samba Samba Chimbo Baba Che Zawanjola Dege Jemeza Shejaba Kanala Shera Jabara Do Chimba Samyu Choba Cheban Deba De Chida Laba Cha Dege Jemeza Chanjo Samba Samba Chimbo Baba Che Zawanjo Teda Nyamba Shara Debala Dege Jemeza Sharip Rejabon Kanala Sherab Chipa Arode Chimba Samyu Choba Cheban Deba De Dida Namba Tawa Chade Pombo Ngabo Teda Cha Shinji Tomba Namba Yanda Ba Jise Tao So Tomba Wo Tomba Ni So So Sole Tomba Ni Shemaye Tomba Ni Rejo So Shemaye Tije Do Sowa Tam Tije Tam Tije Tam Namba Shibana Tomba O Sharebe Teda Shutanje Tomba Ni De Tsinye Meba Ma Sheba Ma Daba Tima Meba Tima Da Chawa Chawa Meba Gawa Meba Wo Sharebe Teda Tomba Ni La Zome Sowa Me Dushe Me Dushe Name Nambara Sheba Me Nawa Name Chime Lume Yime Zome Dame Time Rome Rejame Shime Dame Kame Ba Ije Kame Ije Namba Shibe Kamje Bade Yam Edo Mare Ba Me Mare Ba Seba Me Ba Kashe Me Kashe Sebe Bade yang me do di chen do to nga wa dang kun jo wa dang go ba dang la me she me to ba me ma da ba yang me do sha le be de da chan jo sam ba na to ba me be che sha ja pa ro de chun ba la de je ni de sim la chu ba me be ta ba me do che jo lo le shi de nyang le de be ta ra chu do de zang de na ba jo be san je tang je chang she la ja pa ro de chim ba la de ne la na me ba yang la ba zo de chang jo de mo ba zo ba san je so de da we na she la ja pa ro de chim be nga li ba chim be nga la na me be nga me nya ba da nya be nga do ma ta je re de sha wa shi be nga me je ba na de ba shi ba she la ja pa ro de chim be nga me ba de ya ta ga de pa ra sang ga de po de so wa sha re pa chang jo sam ba chim de da she la ja pa ro de shi ba sam ma la ba cha wo de ne chom de de nge de le shen chang jo sam ba chim pa ba chi re za wang cha la le so ji za wa chi ne le so le ja ba de shi no le ja ba de shi de da che che de ba shi de she la ja pa ro de sam ma la che ba cha de shi she ba na che je za ya ra mo chom de de ge je ka sa ne se da de ba sha re da de bu da chang jo sam ba chim pa ba chi re za wang cha da tang je da de ko de da la da ni da la ba ye da zhi sa chi bi chi de ye ran de chum de ji song ba la ma ba de to de ya ta ga de pa ra sang ga de bo de so pa ba ku jo san je ka ye de ba chi bi ta ji me de bi cho tang je che le do ba je me ba je sha wa je ge re ton da je sha wa tong men de be chen da chao de ba je ge san sun je be ta shen den jo den de le shu la ma dong gompa je je jang de yang la cha ze lo kong ge lo je tim ye tin da ni da nang da ra sa re ji ye de ge ji je zi je ni je to ga le ban zi kanda si de tsura ma re me ta dong ye chi zer we zho zo kun la pe je da zi yin la zhu je yang den son zho da che zho ni mo ni no le che cha zho zho ze chi ma re me se dong ye ni gu chi ni che ze a ti de ne da je sa je da su yin de le zo cha se tu ye gu che cha che tang che ni jin jin da le me se jang be yang la du o ra ba cha na Sanji chida soji chonana chanji bada dani chapsu chi dagi chi soji be sonanchi dhala benche sanji draba shu sanji chida soji chonana chanji bada dani chapsu chi dagi chi soji be sonanchi dhala benche sanji draba shu sanji chida soji chonala chanjo bade dane chasa Laji Jiso Jibe Sonanji, Dola Benze Sanji Joba Shu. Yeah. Tanga to Kato Sajisama, and then Langeron she said the Laura. That Langeron she bought on the Langi Yawanda, not in Rosawache. That didn't carry the words and Dildo. Chiramba Yulondela, and then Langa in Nasha the killing a mother, Saji, Nasha the Dugres, killing a race and the killing a mare, said the Simache. That didn't go to her. She's a Kijima Judugi, Kijimba, Tombo Chonga, Tonadon. Judo pa lanji shinu gonan yis. Chizon tate karasu goresena, ane chitame lola, ane tolam tela kasi chigiresena, kiji ane judo chiro ro. Tolam tela kiji judo chini, kiji tombo chonga de, kiji ma tombo chonga de karesena, ane tolam tong, kiji judo pa de kare soa ina, ane gonams tos chili chigore. Chidang tolam tela kiji judo chi, kiji judo nuni tombo chonga de tolam yis. Ane kiji judo pa de, tama de, and the carriers in the Golan is, and the Konotogi, or Tochini, Kiji Chigres at TGJ.
So then, up until yesterday, we were discussing the third subsection of the assertions regarding paths made by the Webashika school. And then, now the third subsection of the assertion regarding paths is the nature of paths. And then when we talk about the nature of paths, then we talked yesterday roughly about how they accept a presentation of the 5 paths with respect to the three vehicles. However, we also discussed how they do not accept, even though they accept the presentation of the 5 paths, they do not accept the presentation of the 10 grounds or the 10 bodhisattva grounds. And then when we talk about the paths, then the Vivashika school, they assert that the path of seeing has like 16 moments, and these are 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge. And they say like this 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge constitute the path of seeing. But at the 16th moment, which is the last moment of the path of seeing, then the 16th moment is the path of meditation.
대제래도 딱 기지주도 간도 체도 그래서는 아주 기지주도 지야데 아니 감산을 받치는 거 감산의 체도도 너발에 지지 아니 너바도 지단 조칸도 좀이 감산되라 다 체도도 조칸도 좀이 인양되지 아니 가르에서는 너바지 다 텔라 간도 기지주도 그래서는 배는 데바실로 맞아니 아니 가르에서는 데요라 동아리 가르에서는 배 데바실로 자운도 아니 가르 동아 데바 고조 데바 Gompa Demba, Lamji Demba Sondi, Tapunja de Panjandi, Dongan Tombonji, and the Kunjon Tombonji, and Gompa Tombonji, Lantobons, or Tujin Debashella, Debal Majandi, Donga Demba Moji, Ponja Delcas, Tonan Moji, Ponja della, Donga Demba Segurata Delcas, Dongan Tobon, and the Kunjon Tobo, Goba Tobo, Lantobons, the Jet Restason, and the Kankoma Tenu Chandler, the Kansumania. Kankomi and the Dongan Tombo, Kunjon Tombo, Goba Tombo, Lan Tombons, Yechedo de Tatonaki de Kanichigores and a pen, Debala, and the Karesana, Pacheman and Sheton, and the Nandon and She, and the Kankomania, Pacheman and Sheton, and the Nandon and Shes, or Karesana, the Chirudi or two Chadugres, Yichiroja,
Topon son ragging,
Red Tobo, Dongan Tobo, Bombi, in the Pederwa, Pachemanachid, Nadologis, Dongan Tombo, Unjon Tombo, Goba Tombo, Lan Tombos, the Ponza del Jara. Tatonan Coroletscato Jajan Chidi Jana Jury, and Donga Ben Dobala Jawa and Tonaki Churu to do Jajan the Dimajo. The Labaina, Dobala Jawayana, Donga Chuse, Donga Chuse, Donga Chishi, Kunjo Chuse, Kunjo Chishi. Goba Chizu, Goba Chishi, Jede, and the Balaja, or they Tomoja Mogaji, the Katupa Landjana, what they decided.
Okay, then when we talk about the 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge, then it is kind of categorized based on the 3 realms. And then when we talk about how the 16 moments are categorized in the path of seeing, according to the 3 realms, then herein like we take the form and formless realm as one, as higher realms, and then we talk about desire realm as one, as a lower realm. And then the 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge are kind of explained in this way. There is, when we talk about the truth, then it is explained on the basis of the Four Noble Truths. And then when we talk about the first truth, which is the noble truth of suffering, and then when we talk about the desire realm, and then there is like two moments, which desire realm, there are two moments of forbearance and knowledge, which is like forbearance and knowledge itself. And then the truth of suffering, when it is explained in the higher realms, then there is a subsequent knowledge and subsequent forbearance. So this is four moments of forbearance and knowledge according to the truth of suffering. And then there will be four same moments of forbearance and knowledge, and for subsequent knowledge and subsequent forbearance in the desire and higher realms, according to the second noble truth, which is the noble truth of origin, and so on and so forth. And then it makes four each, so 4 4s are 16, right? So 16 moments are complete in this manner. Yes.
Jed Karesina, Donga Jesus, there are Donga Jesus, Donga Jishi, Kunjon Jesus, Kunjon Jishi, and then Gopa Jesus, Gopa Jishi, and then La Jesus, La Jishis, or Tichirude, to Chikores.
So then another way of classifying or looking at the 16 moments is from the angle of like the realms themselves. So I said like realms will be divided into 2 rather than 3 here, wherein we talk about formless and form and formless realms as one, and then desire realm as one. So when we talk about the desire realm, when we talk about like the 4 truths, then the 4 truths has like two moments of knowledge and forbearance in each of these realms. So then that makes, in each of the 4 noble truths, there are 2, not subsequent knowledge or subsequent forbearance, but like the knowledge and forbearance itself in each of the 4 noble truths. So 4 2s are 8, right? Mm-hmm. So the desire realm has 8 moments of forbearance and knowledge. And then same way, the 2 other realms, formless and form, which are the higher realms, so these has like 8 left. These are the subsequent knowledge and subsequent forbearance. So 8 8 16 moments. So then furthermore it is explained in this manner. We say there are 8 moments of forbearance and knowledge in the desire realm, right? Then the first 4 of these moments of knowledge and forbearance are explained to be uninterrupted paths. Yes, and then these later 4 moments of knowledge and moments of forbearance are said to be paths of release. Yes.
Auto Chardon, that depends on make Loga Chadder, Penna Pachimana Coin, but there is Zobas Meta, Donga Jesus, Kunjon Jesus, Goba Jesus, and Jesus Seattle. Donga Pen Dobala Joana, Donga Choose, Kunjon Choose, Goba Choose, Zobasa Coin, but the Pachimanachi, that Shipas on the Donga Chishi, Kunjon Chishi, Donga Jishi Seattle, Zoba Conjaya, the Pachimanaton, Shiba Javia, the Carriers, and Nandolans.
So then one way of looking at this, two parts that we just talked about, uninterrupted parts and paths of release. So then all the moments of forbearance could be understood as uninterrupted paths. And then all moments of knowledge could be understood as paths of release.
대체 다디 기지 타마타마디 골람리래 타마디 가르쳤나 맞아 감 고마기 가르쳤나 난 지시시야 돼요 감 고마기 난 지시시야 돼는 골람 샵 그래 대 마도비 어느 동부 종아디 가르쳤나 지라면 그런 게는 돈이 있어 그래 타마나 지시시야 돼 근데 또 골람이 있어 그런 것도 있지 시작이 열었어야 되지.
So with this kind of presentation about the 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge, and then we talked about before, wherein when they talk about this 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge, that the 16th moment of the path of seeing is actually the path of meditation. So then what is the path of meditation in this presentation? Then the 16th moment is said to be the subsequent knowledge in the higher realms of the true path. That is where the path of meditation begins.
Subsequent knowledge of the
higher realm.
Truths of the path.
Yes, of the higher realm.
대제 다 지유 람바디 가르스나 라 삼번 조바다 람지 코네 지와 지 기지면 주로데 지유 람바디 보람신 지그레스 동보 가르스나 빼나 가서 뭐 동보 동아 추즈 세야지 아니 동아 추즈 제산이 요라 아니 되가래 동아 아니 추즈 추시지 아니 가르레스나 아니 군종 추즈지 아니 군종 추시지 세야 돼 집이 보란데 아니 빼 람바시 지그레스 세야 돼 대제레도.
So then when we talk about the presentation of this 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge, then it is said that these moments, the one who meditates or one who attains these moments cannot attain like these moments simultaneously. It should always go like serially from a moment of forbearance to a moment of subsequent forbearance. Right? From a moment of knowledge to a moment of subsequent knowledge, not like simultaneously.
That depends. Rasamban Roa Taram Jidichi and the Peneranda Sambakan Roa and the Komba Konto Nisum, the Ponation Dogora, or Tenoshiki, G. Rambate, Rasamban Roata being speak to the Jinjado Techichi.
So the text cites the example or the illustration of a goat walking on a bridge. So when a goat tries to cross a bridge, then he has to cross it step by step. So likewise, this subsequent moment of forbearance and this 16 moments of forbearance and knowledge are like experienced or attained serially.
Samejo Pumbanga landed to the Bishop. Chedama Lola Lamji Dembadela, is the Shiba in Gugures, Shiba in Gumares, Chezon Lamji Dembadela, Zosha Chugures, Chedama Konogene, and the Badawache, or Techiche.
So then we come to an assertion that is kind of unique to this Webashika school when we talk about the path, and then true paths. So they say like true paths are not necessarily consciousness. Because this school maintained that the 5 uncontaminated mental and physical aggregates are also true paths. So now with this we have covered the 2 of the 3 subsections of the assertions that made by this school. We said that there will be assertions that will be made on the basis of the base, path, and fruit of the paths, right? So now the first 2, base and path, these assertions are covered. And now we move on to the final the assertions they make on the fruit of the path.
Somebody debut Nashanes, Nidiri Nanji, Matasu Judu, Chesan La Soba, Bad, Kambachina Ta, and in Nituju Golan Doje, Tamating in Zilatini, 아니 뉴모지지 드바 도바 치비 쳬지 뽕데 다제미 디빙원데 제도스 다 가르쳐 그래서는 디베 타마기 디베 가르쳐는 니도 다제미 디베 타야 되라 다제미 디베 타바라 가르치고 그래서는 니투리 진트 속에 니투 바데리 제성어디 다 니투지 레귤레 데케 니투기 난줄레 데베 가자도 가르치 그래서는 마다수 주로 간다 공니시도 란지기 미바 가르쳐 내제 마다수 주로 열어 주로 돼서 아니 냐네 제나 아니 녀나 조버 저와다와이나 아니 세성기 돌아 아니 감바치니 아니 가르치나 타마텔라 아니 고람 니투고 고람 도제 답에 띵이지 쓰지어로 띵군데 지니 아니 가르치나 다치비 두빙고데 치그레스 냐실 렌자데 kon디 랑기 미바데 데지 마타수 주르데 세성나 감치니 아니 지 온본노보도 바치 나스고라 다들 감바치니 타 아니 번 니투지 고람 도제 답에 띵이지 지어레 띵군데 지서와 토와이나 아니 기지 니바네 가르치나 아니 가르치나 니도 다치비 두빙고데 치그레스야 디제레디샤.
So then, when we talk about the assertion on the fruits of the path, then when we talk about of the three vehicles, then the hearer lineage, then the hearers, when they meditate, we talked about how the object of observation of the object of observation of the path would be the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths, wherein we discussed about like impermanence, selflessness, and so on. So the hearer lineage, the hearers of the three vehicles, the first one, the hearers, they meditate on the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truth for like 3 lifetimes. And upon like meditating on this, on 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths for 3 lifetimes, they are able to attain or achieve this like tingin ta topla rokola
golam doje ta tingis golam ni tama te taliteni ani dachimi dibingo de chigres doje ta tingis.
So then after meditating or contemplating and on the 16 attributes of the Four Noble Truths for 3 lifetimes, the hearers they achieve the last stage of the path of meditation, wherein they have become arhats.
대제제 디니투지제 다 랑자 가르치 그랬으나 세르타바 랑자나제 가자라자 티비 주주 동와도비 따와데 같이 잘라서 수나주 추도 데데스 다 세르타바 랑자사 세르스오네 가지고 그런 기본이 니에 봐라 아니 그런 기본답에 데딩가 랑자데서 가르치 그랬으나 건디 시대야게 내님마다 주르고 놓시데 집에 가사게 다음에 참고해야 돼 아니 대투니 대감니 아니 가본 뭐라 같이 잘라서 봐라 아니 대감니 아니 수나주 추도 되네 아니 가르치나 그럼 아니 손에 매체드 냠슬레니 아니 손에 매체 탑차니 대차비 조다 조난이 zon데 아니 조난 토란 고난 말라한테서 대사 땡치칼 다른 되니 아니 가르치나 그런 다치비 문제 제도 그래서 대지제.
And then the second vehicle, which is the Pratikya Buddhas or the solitary realizers, and then when they set on the path, then they kind of meditate on this emptiness, and the emptiness herein that they meditate on this is the person that is empty of substantial existence, in the sense of being self-sufficient. We talked about subtle selflessness, right? So subtle selflessness and subtle selflessness of person is mutually inclusive in this particular school. And then what is this subtle selflessness? Then it is the emptiness of being self-sufficient and substantially existent. So they meditate on this emptiness, and whereupon when they meditate on this emptiness, they like collect merit for like thousands of lifetimes. And when they reach the path of preparation, when they reach on the path of accumulation, they meditate on this selflessness, emptiness or selflessness, and then along with that, like they have accumulated merit for countless like lifetimes. And when they realize this emptiness, and then from that moment onward, that is the path of accumulation for them. And then when they realize this, then they reach the path of preparation, and from the path of preparation to path of no more learning, they kind of like meditate in one sitting, and in one sitting they are able to achieve the liberation or arhat status. Yes.
대체제 손아치 문제도 냐서로니 조나 졸라 소바 말라나치 바지 땡투 찔링은 지그레세 대제 다 미비 다장바야 랑고 본토리 냐니 주쇼파데 조아시비 냐비 주지수 킬레노스 제도 제다마이들 가르 너게 열으시나 다제미 디비 타차와라고 이나야 양자 오늘 소도 다제미 디비들 마냐니 마 가르라스나요 바 토나마레 바 도스치나 마 사도고요 바 어드리지는 나자 코너도 네베 킬링그레스 티제레죠
가와고도 사기르스 우레기.
토람
네 마사기르스.
동보 다지미 디비 타운도 남마이노니 말라나 타보라
레레.
소란 조란 토란 고란 말라나 바드 타보라 다 말라나데 도치 다지미 디비도 마냐운도 가르스나 데니 고란데 냐 말라나냐 고란냐 토란 바드마 냠도고요 봐 어드리지니 가르스나 그런 킬링그레스 티제레죠
So then, in the Vaibhashika school, when we talk about this Arahat status, then we talked about how when they talk about the Arahat status, then like the Arahat status is achieved when one reaches the path of no more learning. But in the Vaibhashika school, they say like even if you have achieved an Arahat status, when you reach the path of no more learning, then like if you are not diligent enough, then like it kind of becomes weak, and then like you fall down to the path of meditation, and then you can fall. One who has achieved Arahat status can fall until like the path of seeing. Yes.
다든지금도 니트라 긴디 니시 당슈니 진짜 나자 쩌영스 지자와 김멜레라 제조 지라벨로라 니트라 긴디 니시세야다 아니 지 슈니 제기 스튜디 나샤디 코노지 시게리데 예나요 지자와서와도 코조기 킬링그를 외세나 아니 킬링 말에 세야데지제
So then, now this is with respect to the solitary realizers. Now when we talk about the first, which is the hearers, when they talk about the hearers, they talk about a presentation of like 20 members of the spiritual community or 20 members of the Sangha alone, but they do not assert that anyone can simultaneously abandon like negative afflictions. It always has to be like in a serial order, in a chronological order, from one step to the next.
데레샤 케멜레라스 다 슈니 제보 코롱라 파비 차바 되다서 제조다 제라멜로 슈니 제보 코롱이나 아니 파비 konsa 이고 그래 코롱기 디 킬링그레 슈니 제보 데라 파비 konsa 이 차바데 아니 코롱 킬링그레스 아티지지
또 단다 긴둥기 데 니슈 송라 니슈 나올라 단다 슝네 게레 츠르 츠마르게
기디 니시 티노라다 슈니 제 용고레
용게라 츠데라
슈니 제 티노라 용고레 다 제다 동가 정도 문다와 차도고라 돌레마 정도 저로 티노라 슈니 제보 여추고레 다 가르치는 기니 니시세야데 다 강가 추고레에서는 강가 영추고 말이 듣는 것이 추도고다
So then when we talk about with respect to the hearers, we say they talk about this 20 members of the Sangha community, and then out of the 20 members of the Sangha community, then they talk about these 8 approachers and abiders. And then who are these 8 approachers and abiders? Then in the Vaibhashika school, they assert that if one is one of the 8 approachers or abiders, then one is necessarily a supreme being.
대체제로 대체제 안에 데레샤 다데 이쪽에 가서 지들인도 니트도 아니 장자님기 아니 가르스나 다제 비디빙은 지수되제 단디는 될래고도 가서는 장주 순밖에 아니 가르스나 다베 다제 비디빙은 지수거라다 손지수도 가르스나 장선난주에서 장선난주 손랑지 니가서 같이 도매선도 수주바 제제스 데니 가와자 최종의 주저디 세바 타마르 비치 장주 시로데 쇠라스 라이프 두데스 제도 장주 선바데 저 손랑기 니가서 같이 도매선도 수주바제 데니 가와자라 가르스나 선지기 베 최종선도 선지줄에 비엔데 저기 베 토야게 아니 직디도 저데 아니 세바 타마비치 안 쿠이지마 타마비치 아니 장주 시로데 베네 니 도제딘지 장주 시로데 쇠라 니 가르스나 라이프 두데 쇠스나 첸라와 안 고나 냐바자 아니 야비치 아니 조남도 토남 아니 고나 중고데 지니 아니 토론데 가르스나 자리 마샤비 있잖아 아니 가르스나 밀랄라 문데 집에 아니 가르스는 아니 상지바 지그레스야 제라마 코는 되지 니시직 들이지 자거도.
So then, up until now, like when we talk about the fruit of paths, then we're talking about the fruit of paths of the two vehicles, which are the hearer and the solitary realizers. Now, when we talk about the bodhisattvas, then the kind of way that the Vaibhashika school they explain it is in the bodhisattvas, such as the Buddha of our time. They complete. They like collect merit and wisdom over like 3 countless like eons during the path of accumulation. Tsoglam, during the path of accumulation, they collect merit and wisdom for like countless lifetimes, and then having accumulated this merit and wisdom, then they are able to achieve like the very like excellent qualities of the Buddhas, or the excellent marks of the Buddha. Then over like more after like countless lifetimes, they are able to achieve the marks of a Buddha, and upon achieving the marks of the Buddha, then in their final life in the samsara, then they defeat the different like demons at twilight while seated under the tree of enlightenment, and at midnight, and upon defeating these demons, then at midnight under the tree of enlightenment, then in one sitting at midnight, they are able to actualize the other 3 paths, the paths of meditation, the path of seeing, and path of preparation, seeing, and meditation. And then at dawn of the next day, at dawn, then they are able to actualize the path of no more nulling, and then they become an enlightened one.
대체 내내 정산주 종 통공성을 냐자 코네 차반데 주도 제다마이 로라 네 정산주 아니 장주 선박이 종나도 통나도 권한섬 되라 아니 냐샤이 비 차바 아니 코랑기 가르스네 킬링그레스야 디제르디샤.
So then when we talk about how these bodhisattvas are explained to achieve or actualize the 3 paths of preparation, seeing, and meditation at one go, at one sitting, and then the kind of next assertion of the Vaibhashika school is that regarding the bodhisattva, the paths of preparation, seeing, and meditation are all meditative equipoise. Because they all occur only during meditative sitting.
대체 다 그런 게 제바 균이지 동복 장주스미 제바도 아니 처마섬디 가르레스나 아니 산지진 제바 킬링게 데스 제라미는 산지긴 제다 제바 균이 제여서 논의되는 거 가지고 가서 산지 동말 가르스나 답에 제바 균이 제여서 제바 균이 뒤는 동복거데 아니 장주스미 제바레스 아니 타마산디 가르스나 아니 산지긴 제바 샤그레스야 돼 어디도 제레도.
Now so of course, when the Vaibhashika school they cite the path of the fruit of the path regarding bodhisattvas, then they kind of refer to the actual life, the 12 deeds of the Buddha himself. So when they talk about the 12 deeds of the Buddha, then the Vaibhashika school they assert that the first 9 deeds of the Buddha are asserted to be deeds of a bodhisattva. And then the last 3 deeds of the Buddha is asserted to be the deeds of an actual Buddha.
대체레시. 다 제바 균이들 가서 가가 고츠그라 동버데 제바 균이들 막 동가지 자와이나 제바 동버데 가르에서나 동버데 가데니스 피번 제바 대체 니바데 가르에서나 플란스 슈빈 제바 대체 삼바데 가르에서나 꽃담비 제바 대체 제바데 가르에서나 준으로 쩌진 제바셔야 돼. 나바데 가르에서나 좀 고조 로바셔야 되지. 두바데라도 중 제바 대체 듬바데 까와치바 미조 까와치바 대체 이러와 제바데 장주니 부시바 대체 니 고바데 가르에서는 뒤도와지 제바데 가르에서는 고마즈바 상지바지 주제바데 가르에서는 추주 콜로코와 제바데지 주니바데 냥년이 되빈 제바스 본집을 주니데 어투진 차기도 있어야 되지래샤.
So then, to kind of enumerate what are the 12 deeds of the Buddha, then the first is descent from the joyous Pure Land, or descent from heaven, from the heavenly realm of joyous Pure Land. Then second, conception. Third, the birth of the Buddha. Fourth is mastery of the arts. And then the fifth is sporting with the retinue of the queen. Then the sixth is renunciation. Seventh is asceticism. Eighth is meditation under the tree of enlightenment. Ninth, conquest or defeating the army of demons. Then 10th is becoming a Buddha. 11th is turning the wheel of doctrine. And then the 12th is nirvana, or the death of the Buddha. Yes.
어때래 단지바 주니데 다가르스나 산지기비 제바제데 소라. 데리셔다 데신디미로. 단지 단데 제바데 제라메로 단다진데 시데다 버와 다가르스나 동북거데 자주수미 제바다 치마사데 아네 산지기 제바 인스고라. 제라마데서 있는데서 앞에 우리 제도 뒤바다 지시디 killing 거라. 다 티바치모라고 이나 다는 제바 주니스야 산지기지 제바제들이 마도 동급이 늦잖아. 돌아 동번이네 산지 차례스. 이나요. 다비 도지들라 마파는 얌자하서 쉬바도 되는 제구야데 늦잘라서 바데다비 지수송이 치데 아니 제바도 되는 그런 거는 많이 나요. 제바성은 건 잡아도 되는데 아니 마도 무빈 늦잘라 아니 산지 차례스. 이나요 늦자들서 베기 치데 아니 제바들이 제바레스야데 티바치복인 듯이 둘이 자와지체 제가 마스와이네 제바데서 소라다 문이라고 기지 가르스나 베 자치시바라고 도지니 킬링데 그래서 대지로 지레도.
So then, when we talk about the 12 deeds of the Buddha, the Vaibhashika school, they assert or they take that the Buddha literally really took birth, and then like he literally became a Buddha, and they see like the 12 deeds as like a real life events, wherein the greater vehicle schools, they assert that the Buddha was already an enlightened being. And these deeds were like him acting as if he was a sentient being in samsara, so as able to show the path to the sentient beings more conveniently.
롱고 충고를 대지 충고지 잡은 되던스 다 제라메일로 가르스는 충고스야 되는 통화이 비치 그래서 요 충고들라 이제 미 갈고 그래서는 통화이 비치 그래서 거다 가져 되라 제단 충고스야 되라 니시거라 충고를 쓰는데 충고들라 또 비충고다 아니 롱고 충고스 다 또 비충고들라 제라메이 가르 자그래서는 통남대 마도现在 샤그를 위해서는现在 샤그요 말해 가르스는 충고들이 이제 미 갈고 그래서는 제라메이 코로나라라 아니 통남대 다스 토나 말에 대시 도비 토나 덴바시 도비 토나 데레마도 고나도 말라남 데서 코조 도비 치고 킬링을 해서는 킬링 말에서 되지지
the chugor la nisha genge
제가
to chugor da lungi chugor 아니 konzogi khari sungre genge
나다 동벌 대전에 되면 중고들라 니여레스 도비 치고 제도 아니 가르스나 롱 치고지
So then now when we talk about the wheel of doctrine, or then when we talk about like turning the wheel, then the wheel, turning the wheel has is further categorized into two types of turning the wheel, and the first is the turning the wheel of realization, tokwe, chugur, and then the second is the turning the wheel of doctrine.
다 도비 중고데 가르샤 그래서는 토나로는 샤그레스 가르르스나 남가 이노니 토남데레마도 고나도 남신다데도 건조기 가르르스나 도비 중고 샤그레스나 대샤그 말레스 도비 중고세야 돼 토나로는 샤그레스
도비 중고데 토남 샤그레스 롱기 중고
롱기 중고데 대시 중고
네네
Sanjing ma song shiagi, Demba ji song ye, Waran song de, Sanji song yo, all te chagres at them.
Okay, then now I made a mistake in translation. The turning of wheel is further like explained to be two types: the turning of wheel of doctrine, and then like a verbal turning of wheel. Now these are the two, and then the first one, which is the wheel of doctrine itself, is always accepted or is necessarily a part of seeing. And then the verbal wheel of doctrine is necessarily a doctrine of the Four Noble Truths.
To be Chugotia, Tona Ronichi, and the Tona T, Demba shit don't get Tona Tilaron Jagrimaton, Tana Shembatas on a Jagrius and the Jagamar, Tona T, Nunio, Demba shit don't get Tonatella, and the Konobi to be Chugot de Chagresa.
So then the wheel of doctrine is necessarily a part of seeing, right? And then what kind of wheel of doctrine are they talking about? They are talking about a wheel of doctrine wherein the person has actualized or like realized the attributes that we talked about of the Four Noble Truths. So that is only that the actualization of the Four Noble Truths or the realization of the Four Noble Truths is accepted as a wheel of doctrine, which is necessarily a part of seeing. Lasso.
Ta longu chugo de kala chagres, ta longu chugo so de sanjing ma son shi yagi, chugo de kala chagres wa na demba she tengi ki sanji ki son telere ma to ane deli shemba ane sanji ki son de son de ko de rama de so kon lo chugo chagre wes de chugo chag mares chugo se ya to de sanji ma son shi yagi warana sala son de yagi pe demba she tengi ki ne ta sanji ki son de la ane deshi chukos longu chugo de deshi chugo chagre ma to jenda ane chugo ye ba killing rewes na ko killing mare se achi tere.
So then aleni tanniba sumboda killing you mara konzui.
Teso killing mara.
Lingomara. So then now like to kind of like make it more clear, then we talked about two wheels of doctrine, right? Two wheels of turning the wheel or wheels of doctrine. Then let's say the first one which you talk about which is necessarily a part of seeing is like a realizational wheel of doctrine, and the other is a verbal wheel of doctrine. Now the realizational wheel of doctrine is accepted to be this realization of the Four Noble Truths only. And then what is the verbal wheel of doctrine? Then the verbal wheel of doctrine is necessarily the teaching that was given on the Four Noble Truths by the Buddha himself. Now there is this we say generally there was like 3 turning of the wheels, right? But the Vaibhashika school, they do not accept the next 2 turning of the wheels as wheel of doctrines. They accept only the wheel of doctrine wherein the Buddha explained about the Four Noble Truths as the only wheel of doctrine.
중국 바바도 타마스야로 중국 바바도 타마스도 그런 제라마도 근데 시작도 지어에는 산지기 손 이바지 키는 그래서나 중국 이바지 키는 그래서나 키는 그 말에 제라마 그런 게 되지도 되지래도.
So now this is the this is the assertion of a special or a unique assertion of the Vaibhashika school, the Four Noble teaching, Four Noble Truths teaching given at Varanasi is accepted as a doctrine of will, wherein the other 2 in Walter's Peak and like the other place, it's not accepted as the word of the Buddha.
제도다 단디 니가 소에데 야게 페나 티미지 뜬다마 또 nombi 기노랭가 시데 저기 아니 티바 준비 손데서 가레스나 산지기 손 말레스 키 밀랭케데요 가시가시 요리스도 제도 티미 코나지서 와라 티바 멤버데서 가자데 저기 다 So this is the reason to this day then the Theravada monks, there are Theravada monks who do not really accept all these like other commentaries and teachings that are found in the Mahayana doctrines as the word of Buddha. 중바자마자 너무 좀 되고 좀 되는데비도 대제제 아니 뭔가 대중보 산제지 송바 까킨 레진스 kala dachi bi chabos ngomba di dube ngomba di dumbos yate ane karesina chirama I kares sibaresina ane sanji gi sonyimba ane kayimba kilingres sanji ji kadela ane dachi ba yimbi chabs kono turijini chigres yate jire disha.
So then the Vaibhashika school, they accept that this text, the 7 treatises of manifest knowledge or Abhidharma, they accept this as actual words of the Buddha, the 7 treatises of manifest knowledge. And they say, the another assertion that the Vaibhashika school make is that they say that the Buddha's word is always literal. It cannot be interpreted. It should be always taken at face value. It's always literal. That's
Digdon, Dangoba de Dubote, and the Kono Karesana, Sanji Song Reso, Tachenda Soyana, the Karesana, Dajamatisoki, Tibachimuto Soyana, Ngoba Didusia, and the Dajamatiso Son Shijirimato, Sanji Song Resina, Sanji Sonya killing of Marita, Chedama Konosogi, Ngoba Didu, and the Sanji Song Re, and the Sanji Sotel, Donation Nideji, Dachishi Jirimato, Dachishipa, Mayibaji, and the killing Maroto, and the Sanji Dudio Son Resina. So then
the Vaibhashika school, they accept this 7 treatises of manifest knowledge, the Abhidharma, as the actual words of the Buddha, and they say that the Buddha's word is always literal. Now in contrast to this assertion, the Mahayana or the greater vehicle schools, they do not accept this Abhidharma or the 7 treatises of manifest knowledge as the actual words of the Buddha. They say this is the words of the Arahats, not the Buddha himself. That's
Kasej killing resena, Chujo Pumodela, and Jetis or to do Jeremato, Jetonsia, Ticona, Jetonsia, Diesel, and the Kono killing the Western, the killing Mare, Sia Digerendo.
So then, now generally, when we talk about the doctrine of Buddhism, then we say there is like 84,000 collections of the doctrine, or 84,000 bundles of doctrine. And now but the Vaibhashika school, they assert that they are in fact only 80,000 bundles of doctrine, or 80,000 collections of doctrine, and they do not accept this other 4,000 as the words of the Buddha. Thus.
Teche, Juli Chuju Pumbo Jete, the corner to be something that Chetu Konum Chuju Pumbo Jete, Jete, the killing Konda Kardu and Jotawa, that of Lobby Sun Jotawa and Karson, Chuju Pumbo Jete, Chetu Chuju Pumbo de Jete song in the Mato, Jedoma Samba Hita, Jete Judoma Samba Hita, Korongi Sogi, Nuchumo de Jete Yesiato, Jotawa de la Contoni, Tucci, Lobby Nigson, Jotawa de la Contoni, or Tucci the King Grecia Jirisha.
Okay. So then, now the reason that they assert that there are only 80,000 collection of the Buddha's doctrine, then they cite this text, the Vasubandhu's Treasury of Manifest Knowledge, and wherein it says those 80,000 bundles of doctrine which were spoken by the subduer. So with this line, they say they cite this text of Vasubandhu, the Treasury of Manifest Knowledge, and wherein it says there are only 80,000 bundles of doctrine. So the other 4,000 they do not accept as the word of the Buddha. Yes.
제종 오미토보고바 동 롱게 나자 키멜레라스 제다메 로라 안에 장주 숨바테서 시바 타마비치 손지비 니데라 가르에서는 벽함 뉴비딩 코너를 상지구래 시야 지라마 코너기 아니 킬링그레스 지라마 도와 티바 지라마 티기 아니 시바 타마비 자주 선바데서 손지상이 니데 아니 뉴비드 감 기보를 아니 상지그레스 코너 킬링라고지 드리다고 제레도 왔대지레샤.
So then, when they talk about the bodhisattvas achieving enlightenment, then at the last life of the bodhisattva, where they achieve enlightenment, then the Vaibhashika school, they assert that lifetime of the bodhisattva, wherein they achieve enlightenment, is still necessarily and definitely in the desire realm.
And the Tana Japan Dadatamate and Azojamato killing Sagi needed and the Dojide, then you correspond to Pitis, Jiva me, double me, Jiva Leni, and the Tentaran Doji do Lambatu and the Sonjiris, Jirama Konogi, or Tochin in the Shijavirasa, de Jire. So
this kind of harkens back to their acceptance that the Buddha actually achieved enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, in the form of a human being, in the realm of desire realm. Yes.
Tiba chiboteso ina kareso no umitobu kubinis parasno dibete mai no umitobu kubinis ya de lai ni da jireta kareso na tongbo kareso na umitobu kubinila dajato ma ngobazu sonji visual da ma jeva zen zobelen tuschini ma poweres tiba chiboteso gi dishituschini jagora cheso tiba chiboteso gi ane sonji sagi ni tisola kareso no umitobu kubinis ya de sogi tela ani dajato ma sonji ni ane zobelen ma poweres jeva chuji tembares
But the greater vehicle schools, they do not really agree with this kind of like assertion, wherein the greater vehicle school, they talk about a heaven where there is like a heavily adorned pure land, wherein the Buddha has already achieved enlightenment, and then he comes down to samsara to like help the sentient beings, and then he like act as if like he's taking birth, act as if he's like meditating, and they do not really accept the assertion that the Vaibhashika school that they make, like wherein like bodhisattvas actualize enlightenment during their last lifetime as being in the desire realm.
Techerecha. And the Tanaji Longi Naja Kimilas, Chetame Lola, Longusia, Kosumjino, Chuku, Longu Tukusia, Tadino, Longusia, Naja killing Revesina, they are killing Mares. And Temase, and then Namcheson, the Chutanji Chindi, Shibetisia, the Namchesia, to Rigi Jerame killing Revesina, they are killing Mares, Longu Naja killing Mare, she's the Tanji Chinki Namchesia, the Shibeti over them killing Revesina, they are killing Mare.
So then now like there are a lot of now like kind of like more assertions that differ between these like higher and this greater and lesser, greater and smaller schools. Now the Vaibhashika school, they do not when we talk about the Buddha, then we kind of talk about the three bodies of the Buddha, right? Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Dhammakaya, and then they do not accept like the two, the Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. They do not accept such a presentation of the Buddha's body. Lasso. The Tamji Kembagi Shibachi or Lady killing him.
Tamji Chimbasan, Shibachi, Chigbachi, Chutanji Najan Chen said. So
then, even when we talk about the qualities of the Buddha, then like it differs. They do not, the Vaibhashika school, they do not accept omniscience in the sense that one consciousness would be able to understand the reality of all phenomena. So they do not accept that such a omniscience exists, wherein one consciousness is able to apprehend or realize the nature of all phenomena. Yes.
대시대 자고라 대긴 대시 자도는 시기 건조기 시베찌기 주타지 되는 친탱이지 요래서는 요 말에서 대시 자고야 돼 티바 침보대 속에 시베찌기 주타지기 나자데 친기를 했어야 드리진이 있어요. 대콘도 killing
So this is in total contrast to the assertion that the greater Vedical schools make, wherein they say there is actually such a consciousness, one single consciousness, which is able to realize the true nature of all phenomena. Yes.
Te maze ta tiba sanje dajala lachi bi chaptes lame nyangeli dibisi mami shwa da riba juchi ban dibisi chidam chirame lo desera gazo dajambatela lachi dajambatan karesna lachi dajanto lame dajam nishi gora ta ti no ni chirame ta da karishi goresna tiba sanje dajela dajambatela ane chena lachi da lame nishi gora ta lachi dajamase yame chena lachi da lame nishi ne tiba sumji ane dajambata zola lachi ba yibi chibure mato lame kipi ni karesna dajambase Digi Lamela in Yadili Niga Dajambasia and the Najaji killing Rivesina, the killing Mari, Satichedo.
Tanyangdel and Sangeo Marakian Tandon.
Nyadidle Sanji Gomba, the pen, Lame, Lajita Jabatobati, Nyandi Taguris one. In Sanji Resina, Sanji Maris.
Tini Nyangdelana Tanzo Lam Jimbado Chishen Naira, Kawas Latsidir.
But Yangini Dibaso on the Dajami Dubitown, and in Yangili Dis, Yangili Dis on Yangi Tilin Dibaso, Yangi Til Tawas. Yangin Dis on the Tel Tabikadero, Til Dius on the Til Dis Hasha Sound, Til Dis on the Yangi Dip and Dadabacha, Yomu Dadabasha. Til Di on the Goddess Dajami Dubitown and Yangili Dis. Yandis de Jado, Disi Java. And then I go Sanji Kumbutown, Yangili Diva Yimari, Karesna, Goddessna, Yangi. When you move to the Mazi, Shiji to buy on Karesina, Yangili di Dogora. She's in Yangis only, when the Karesina, Disha, Domadabaja, only you Modabaja, you Modabaja, Tilly Divisa, Yangili Divas, or Tichado, Ticherition.
So then, now, before like we move on to the next assertion that they make, then we kind of have to talk about how like Nirvana lana digdagi nyanyi.
Yangil Dipa,
Sure.
Cheta Yangil Dipa sounding good in order.
Re,
Godi Tanagato Chidi, Yangiseate, Numu Tabateja, these only Tepomba. Yangil Dibaso and the Pena, Nudopumbi, any Tabayan, Tabas, Lila Jatoy, Tabara, de Tabare, Taba, Pena, Timidaji, you town, the Tabatapsu, Taru, Qual.
So then even when we, now before we move on to the next assertion that this school makes, then we kind of have to talk about liberation or nirvana. Then liberation or nirvana is said to be like two types. Liberation with a remainder and liberation without a remainder. And so they say like if one is an arahat, then then if one has achieved the status of arahat, then one is necessarily is someone who has achieved nirvana with a remainder. That's Shiva.
Mami Shiva, Juches, Penalagis, and this order. That's a Rama to the shade of Vadavina, Dajatavadavina, Doji de la Mobazu, Sonji Divinicas, Pumbote, got Hachis, Garas, Tanda, Pumbo, the Hami lineage of Pumbi, don't like Pumbo nowadays. They Lama the Chi Devine, Lachis, got Lachi Teche. That Pumbote, the Juche, Pumbo Nashi, Dajim Divitam, Dajim Divitani, Hami lineage of Pumbi, Domate, the Katani, Shadow, Pumbote, the Dajim Divitapsani. When Pumbo did a carton, and Nashisia, the Juchen over the Mevachan over there, Mamisho and the Chad over there, Jeramacono, the Shitejago. Chetota Tanda, when Dajatama, the Doji de Mobazu, Sanji, Nigase, Pumbote, Maranzo Pumbo, the Chivichiones, Mami Liji Pumbi, Pumbote Mato, Pumbicindaki, the Yamaris, the Lama de Chis on the lineage Pumbi, Pumbote the Chibayans, Lama de Chibare, Dachambare city. They Pumbote the cartado and the Hames. Pumba Lama to Rando, Lames. These niggas and Consasia, the Yamari, Shiba Juche,
So then, anyone who has achieved, or anyone who is an arahat is necessarily is someone who has achieved nirvana with a remainder. Then they assert that if someone has achieved a nirvana without a remainder, then the physical body does not longer exist, and the mental continuum of consciousness is extinguished, wherein they give the example of a flame. So yeah, so and this applies to like all the three vehicles. When they talk about the arhat, or when they talk about liberation. So this liberation with the remainder and liberation without remainder. Now when we talk about the Buddha himself, then the Vaibhashika school, they say like when the Buddha, he passed away, then when the physical body, when he passed away, then the physical body is an example of the achieving nirvana with a remainder, because the physical body is still there. And then when he is done with the physical body, then he is able to achieve like nirvana without a remainder, because the physical body, which is the source of all suffering and affliction, is no longer there.